He's probably going to kill me for
Yeah.
volunteering.
Hey, so MD said that you're available to do some drywall installation.
Welcome to Podheim, Jiroc's Valheim podcast. Let's give him the business.
Alexa, studio lights on. Hey, everybody. Today is June 6th, 2023. I'm your host, Jiroc the Viking, and joining me today are my fellow Vikings, Gwen the Shieldmaiden.
Howdy. I'm back.
Welcome back. We also have Shieldmaiden MorningDarkness.
Hello.
Hello over there. And joining us in digital form as usual, Viking Vhaste.
Hello, humans.
I come in peace, or maybe not.
Yes. Well, so right before we get started here, I want to say that this episode is sponsored by G-Portal. You can save 10% on a gaming server for Valheim or any other game if you use my link, jiroctheviking.com/G-Portal. And yeah, they have lots of different games. And if you want to try some others, they've got them all over here. And come to my Discord server if you have any questions about running a G-Portal server, and me or any of my admins or the other fun people, modders and server admins who hang out on my server can try to help you over on my Game Master channel. But before we get into our major content that we've got for you today, everyone, MorningDarkness, can you give us a preview of some of the Valheim news we'll be covering later in the podcast?
Indeed. So we have all kinds of things to cover today, including public test branch patch notes and bug fixes, Iron Gate policy concerning mods, development blog with info on Hilder's Quest, Ashlands, and a new build of the month, and not to mention Jiroc uses Photoshop. Oh, okay. Let me read this again. Sorry. Jiroc uses Photoshop's new artificial intelligence generative fill to predict what future updates might look like. I can speak today. I swear.
Well, it's new lingo that's popping up in the AI art community, this term generative fill. And Photoshop now has a new generative fill too, and using AI. And actually, it's one of the most powerful tools. And I'm going to show you how it predicts some stuff for Valheim even, which will be fun to look at.
Fascinating.
But first off, it's been too long. I miss when we were doing the podcast weekly because I get to stay in touch with everyone. And but then we do it every few weeks. But because of scheduling and things that have been going on, this we haven't done for the last month, so it's maybe becoming a monthly podcast. I guess we'll see. Hopefully we can do it more frequently. Well, what's everyone been up to? Gwen, shall we start with you, since we haven't seen you on the podcast in like 2 months now?
I know, I missed the last one because work kept me late, which is another reason why we need to go back to a more regular schedule of Podheim, because it's the thing that forces me to stop work at a reasonable time because I need to get ready for Podheim. So yeah, I definitely need to go back to at least bi-weekly.
Can you tell us about your hat and why it's sitting so high on your head?
Because it's not meant to fit over headphones, and I didn't have time to set up alternative hearing equipment. So this is what you get. You get like a wonky hat that's floating on headphones. And it's funny because the hat that I had picked before, I was told, and thanks MD for warning me that I had worn before, because I would have lost this bet if you hadn't told me. Because the whole thing is, for those who are new to the podcast and don't know why Jiroc and I are wearing hats, is we started this competition, like 9 months ago, something like that?
It's
a good 9 months ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And basically we both need to wear a different hat each episode until one of us runs out of hats, and if we repeat a hat, we've lost. So I'll be curious to see if that hat that you've got is definitely a new one that we haven't seen on the podcast.
I was gonna say that hat
It
looks
does
familiar
look
too,
familiar,
Jiroc.
doesn't it? It does look a tad
We'll
familiar.
talk about that when it gets to me.
Okay. So this is just a hat that I picked up in I don't know where I picked it up. Probably in a charity shop or vintage. It's a secondhand nice hat, and I thought it was cute. So, and it's almost summer here, so I thought better celebrate with summery hats.
Yeah, absolutely. I have some summer hats that I'll probably wear in the coming episodes, but
Nice.
we'll talk about this one in a minute. So what have you been up to in the last 2 months that's kept you away from podcasting and everything?
And streaming.
Yeah, so I was kind of forced into a streaming hiatus break.
Hiatus, yeah.
Yeah.
Because my laptop suddenly decided that it didn't want to deal with streaming and things anymore. I hope this podcast recording will go smoothly, because we already had like a couple of issues before we got started. And essentially, I think my laptop is just not made for intense usage, like streaming, gaming, stuff like that. And I don't know, there's issues that I need to look into and fix. I'm also kind of getting to the point where I'm like, that's fine. I'll cough up the money and just upgrade and get a proper desktop PC, because it's been overdue for a while. My laptop was never meant to be for streaming, video editing, and all the other things that I do now.
Especially not with 6 gigabytes of RAM.
No, yeah, 8.
Oh, you have 8.
Please, 8.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Oh, you have 8.
I have 8. But essentially, the funny story is, I got this laptop just before I joined your servers, and it was because my home-built semi-second-hand PC had basically fried 2 summers ago. It got really hot one summer, and just the graphic card melted. And it was so old it needed replacing. But at the time I was really into Valheim. I hadn't yet joined the servers, but I wanted to keep playing. So I just went to Curry's PC World shop and bought a laptop, because I wanted one quick. And I didn't really think through, it was good enough for gaming, because at the time I was only gaming. And then I got into streaming and other things. And now the laptop doesn't really fit the bill anymore. So good opportunity to upgrade. But yeah, so I've had to kind of take a break because of laptop issues, but also work has been just crazy busy the past month and a bit. So unfortunately I had to take a break from that, but also because outside of work, my hobbies have kept me busy as well. I've been doing lots of reenactment things now that the reenactment show season has started. Usually it's from around April to September is when we get booked for loads of shows and things, and had a couple of shows and stuff already, and had to do a lot of sewing and preparation to make sure that we were ready with my group. So yeah, that kind of kept me quite busy as well. And I have some cool pictures to share if Jiroc has those. Oh,
a bunch of pictures from you.
So I also did, so that was back in April, like mid-April, so ages ago. I went on a hike with a friend, a 20-kilometer hike, along the Ridgeway, which is Britain's oldest road that was built pre-Romans, used a lot during the Roman age and then subsequently. And it's just a really lovely kind of country path that you can take and you can hike along. It takes you through quite a lot of really cool historical sites as well. And this is almost at the starting point. This picture is taken at the Avebury Stone Circle. I don't actually have a picture of the stone circle itself, but that's me beside a big rock. And the important thing about that hike is that I decided to do the hike fully in medieval kit, just for poops and giggles. So
did somebody go with you on this hike?
Yes.
And were they wearing a costume?
No. She was just wearing normal clothes. So the contrast was hilarious, because I was like wearing basically medieval peasant kit, and then she was in normal, like, sportswear, multicolored sportswear, and people were just. I was surprised. We were both kind of disappointed at how little people,
reacted to you.
talked to us. Yeah.
Oh.
People weren't really asking questions. They did double take a little bit, but there's only one person that we started the conversation with who did ask, oh, so what's with the outfit? And it was a guy who was doing he was cycling all the way from Wales to London. He was day 5 in his journey on a bike, so all alone on a bike and camping along the way. And he had said that he had been cycling for 5 days and not spoken to any human, so he was just happy to have human interaction. It was like, oh, okay.
Even if there was a weirdo in a costume.
Exactly. And I was like, oh, great, so that's why you're asking. So I was slightly disappointed that not more people asked about this, but yeah, no, so I did this hike. There's a couple more pictures of the hike, so that's me on.
Was it cool enough out that this outfit was comfortable, or was it warm?
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, it was okay. So I started the hike. So what I'm wearing a linen under tunic, wool tunic on top of that. Then I had my freshly made new wool hood that I wore mostly for sun protection, more than sun and wind protection, not because it was cold. And then I was wearing what was I wearing? Oh, I was wearing my wool hose and then some leg wraps on top of that, so my legs were pretty covered. It was fairly cool still, but obviously when you walk and stuff, it does get warm. And the weather was beautiful, it was really sunny. So I did shed a couple of layers. Like I took off the hood at some point and stuff like that. But I had anticipated that I would need to take the wool tunic off and do it in basically in underwear. Just the under tunic, but I didn't need to. It was actually fine because, natural fibers, they breathe. So it's comfortable.
Yeah.
So that's me at the end of the hike. I initially started the hike and ended the hike with actual medieval leather turn shoes, but the path we were on was quite muddy because it had rained a lot before, and it had like rocks and stuff, and it was quite uncomfortable. And I knew it was my first big hike in a while, and it was 20 kilometers, and I thought I wouldn't risk too many issues, so I ended up like wearing normal modern hiking boots. But in the end, I kind of regretted it a bit because I ended up having blisters because I had so many layers of woolen had socks plus woolen hose that I had squished into my modern shoes, and it was kind of uncomfortable. So next time I'll try the hike with just normal medieval shoes.
Is that what's in your white satchel here? Is your boots, or was somebody else carrying those?
Yes. No, that's at the end of the hike, so I took them up. But initially in my satchel, I had my modern boots and my lunch and other bits and pieces, my phone and stuff like that, a wallet maybe. I made that. It's called like a saddle bag, I think, or it's a type of bag that you can see in many medieval depictions from across many centuries. It's the easiest type of bag. It's just like a long tube with a slit in the middle. You can put stuff on either end, and you can either have it over your shoulder like I'm wearing, or over like around your neck, or on a donkey or a horse. Like, it's great. It's Mary Poppins bag. You can fit so many things in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually really comfortable compared to a modern backpack, because you can move it around, right? You can switch shoulders. And okay, maybe it's not for carrying really heavy things. It might be less ergonomic or what, but at least my back wasn't sweaty. That's the problem with modern backpacks, right? You're carrying all that stuff like right on your back, and then your back just ends up being so sweaty. And I was carrying a lot of things on my belt as well. Like I had a water thing, and then I was carrying whatever I could carry on my belt, and that's also great for weight distribution. It's just like sitting on your hips. And I'm telling you, having stuff on your belt is so convenient. It's so comfortable. I kind of want to do that in everyday life now. Have like little leather pouches.
That's what the fanny pack was
hang
for.
them off my belt. Yeah, it is. Although
handy.
It has it's got a bad rep though.
It does.
I love that you say fanny pack, by the way, because in the in the UK that's quite funny. In the UK, we call it a bum bag.
A bum bag.
Yeah.
I have one that's made for runners, so it's very
Yeah.
sleek and I mean maybe it doesn't carry as much as the bulkier bum bags,
Mhm.
but it looks more stylish because the other one's got a bad rep for the style.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's kind of, but you know what? Like even, the fashion, early 2000s or 2010 fashion of having your phone on a little holster on
Yep.
the belt,
Mhm.
like that was such a like a dad style. But again, it's got its merits. Your
It's
phone is like right there, ready
Yep.
to
And it's not
to grab.
stretching out your pocket. You'd look at my
Exactly.
jeans, and a lot of my jeans have that little rectangular
Yeah.
rub mark from being in my pocket.
Yep.
So what else have we got here?
Exactly. So as I said, I did a bunch of shows, and for the kind of first time, I had my own proper mini display. So here I have a little dyeing display where I'm showing all the different types of colors you can get with different dye stuffs. So I was showing like on the left side here, it's all the colors you can get with madder, so from red to kind of pink and stuff. And I've got a bit of like it's hidden by my hand, but in those little wooden boxes, I've got some of the bits of plants that you use to dye that. So it's kind of like showing to the public with this plant you can do these colors and kind of talking through that whole process. And yeah, so that was kind of like at the beginning of the day. By the end of the day, I had like a little improvised stand where I had all the different pieces of yarn standing. So I've got like a nice little tabletop stand now. But yeah, this is kind of showing that. And I had a mini apprentice as well with me, and some of you might recognize, MD might recognize
Zoom.
what's worn here. Yes.
Is that the one you
Is that
made
the
on the
costume you
stream?
made?
Yes, that's the dress that I made on the stream for. So this is the niece of my friend, who's also the head of our local group. And she's 9 years old, and she was my little assistant for the day. And I was showing her how to stitch, so she was doing some stitches there. And she's so smart. She's really an impressive kid. She's really into history, and so she's loving this kind of like the opportunity to join shows with her uncle and do this. And she's by the end of the day, by hearing me talk to all the different, talk to the members of the public and talking through the whole thing, she was able to kind of man the display for me as well. Like I have a couple of pictures. I didn't share them there because I don't want to share pictures of her specifically, but
Right.
you can see her basically talking. At some point I had to take like a loo break. I had to go to the toilet, and so I left her there for like a couple of minutes, and she was just doing the whole pitch herself. She was like, yeah, so this is woad and this is a process and blah blah blah, blah. And she was just doing it perfectly. It was amazing. She was great. So she was helping me on my little display. And we were doing a bit of sewing and stuff like that. So that was at the big annual event that my society, 12th Century Reenactment Society, does. And it was a 2-day event. And not only I was doing the display stuff, but I was also taking part in some of the combat. I took part as an archer with my brand new bow that I bought back in November.
Nice.
And you can see me here with my little hood. I look very Robin Hood, actually.
Yeah, you do.
You do.
It's funny. I couldn't be bothered to armor up with my. Basically, I did archery because I was too lazy to put a gambeson and helmet on one of the days. So so that's the real story. But also loosening arrows at people is fun. So I did that for one of the days.
Mm-hmm. So you got your gloves tucked in your belt there, and arrows.
Yes, I've got my quiver with my arrows, which I have here as well. I can show you my my little arrow set. I bought them. I didn't make those. I should try to make some. I've got stuff like feathers and things to make some, but I'm a bit terrified because I've not done it before. Fletching is hard.
Fletching is interesting. Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, I bought these arrows and I used them, and I did one of these fights, like this one, where I loosen 3 arrows or 2 even, like really not a lot, and I managed to break one of them.
Oh, no.
So that was sad. And that arrow was the one that I then turned into a stand for my display. So not all was lost.
Yeah.
Resourceful with stuff. Yeah, and then so that was the big 12th century event. But then I also had an opportunity to join my other reenactor friends from a local Viking group. And they invited me to join them for another event a couple of weekends ago. And I was there just for a day. They were there for the weekend, but I wasn't available the whole weekend. I just dropped in for a day. Oh, so that's okay.
This is part of the other event, right?
Yes, that's part of the other event. And I just wanted to show like this is the kind of, so everyone it's 12th century. So male helmet, big kite shields and stuff like that. And there, I'm not on that picture. I'm probably like hiding behind. Basically, everyone is getting ready to take archery fire. So everyone is tucking like underneath and behind their shields. And that's kind of what I wanted to show. Like on the receiving end of the archery fire, everyone has to basically make a shield wall. So yeah, I couldn't be bothered to wear all of that armor stuff. So I did archery instead.
Yeah.
And then run away. Yeah, so at that event, I was basically joining a Viking group, which was nice because it was a nice change. I wore the same outfit which is the only kind of outfit which works for like both centuries anyway. The main difference being I don't need to wear a head covering because I'm a dirty heathen, so I don't need to cover my hair for religious reasons when I'm a Viking. Yeah, when I do 12th century, we portray 12th century Normans, which are all like Christians. So part of it is everyone, even men,
More
cover their
conservative,
heads.
right?
Yeah, cover their heads. And the story as well of like why you wear what we call a wimple for women, which is kind of like a veil. The main thing is not just covering your head, it's mostly covering the ears, because the belief at the time was that the Virgin Mary got impregnated through her ears. So it's more of a protection against future baby Jesuses. It's just weird. So this is the weird belief that led everyone to basically cover their ears. But yeah, the church and stuff. So even though I'm not very religious myself, I do portray people who were. So yeah. But yeah, here I'm just with my longbow shooting at a little shield wall of Vikings, and it was quite fun as well. I did get to do a lot more archery then because it was a much smaller show, much smaller group, and just 2 of us archers.
So you're actually shooting at people, and I'm guessing you have a dull tip
blunt
on
arrows.
here,
Yeah.
so that they don't get hurt.
Yeah, of course. All the arrows we use have blunt rubber tips.
Yeah.
Yeah, so blunt rubber tips, and flat tips, so they're not supposed to hurt. Also, all our bows that we're using have limited poundage, so they're like 24, 25 pounds max. So you can't really shoot really in a powerful way.
Yeah.
Also for safety reasons. So.
And
but I mean, I say that I have done training with these guys where I got shot at on the thigh from 10 meters, and the bruise was this big, and I had it for about like right now. Finally, the bruise is gone, and it's been 3 weeks. So yeah.
And I bet it hurt.
If you get
So
yeah.
as much as it's not breaking skin, there's still
There's still an impact.
Yeah. Those things hard. It's the same with the paintball.
Yes,
exactly the same as paintball.
If they hit you close enough,
it still hurts.
do it hard. It can actually make it more. It can cut you. The paintball ones can cut you really bad if you are.
Oh yeah, they can cut. They can cut skin. Yeah, you got to wear protective gear. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
So in this next picture, there's 2 fighters in the foreground and Gwen in the background supervising.
Waiting for an opportunity to shoot. They were doing like, so it was two groups, two Viking reenactment groups, and they were doing basically displays and shows. They're showing like dueling with swords and stuff like that. Basically putting a show on for the public. And then we did kind of shooting arrows at a shield wall, which I think is the last picture, where you see basically the other angle and what the Vikings that we were
Oh.
shooting were doing. They were hiding behind the round shields.
Oh yeah.
Um,
They don't want to get a big, huge
yeah.
bruise on their leg like you.
Yeah, well, it's mostly obviously for safety reasons, but also mostly to cover the head. But the funny thing is, the Vikings have small round shields, and when I do the 12th century Norman stuff, they're much bigger kite shields. They cover most of your body, so you can kind of just crouch under it, but not go all the way down. But here, the shield wall, they had to do, they're like really almost like to the ground because their shields are so small. And you can see the person on the left here is kind of poking out a bit, and I think he got shot a couple of times.
Oh no!
Is that what you were aiming at? You say, "I see you over there."
That lovely bit of bum that's sticking out. That's gonna be shot at.
Almost
funny.
like whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole.
Trying to find the head.
So that's the thing. So with this group at this show, we had a bit of time to do our display. We had like 45 minutes or something, and they had like done enough of the dueling and stuff because there wasn't like a huge amount of combatants, less than 10. So then we were like, oh, well, people seem to be enjoying the archery thing. So let's play a game of Space Invaders. And what that is basically you've got the shield wall moving one step, then you loose an arrow, move one step forward, and basically you try to take them down before they get to you. And you can move sideways and shoot from different angles and things. And that was my first time playing Space Invaders as an archer, and it was so fun.
Sounds awesome.
I got a couple. Yeah.
Cool. Well, no wonder you haven't been around. You're out in the world doing all this amazing fun stuff. Well, cool. MD, you have a few things to chat about too. What have you been up to this last month?
So end of May was Memorial Day weekend in the United States, and we went to a game convention, an RPG convention. They had, wargaming and LARPing and RPGs and board games. They have a board game library of over 1,000 board games, I think.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, no, it's huge, and there were over 3,000 people there, and we ran our mega dungeon. So we basically did D&D light, and I handcrafted most of this. One of the members of our group did the Ouroboros puzzle, which there are 3 different pieces that actually turn on a turntable. And then the castle is 3D printed, but if you look really closely at the mat, that's basically I want to say it's a 4x12 painter's canvas hallway coverage that I tie-dyed blue, and then I did 5 or 6 different layers of different colored paints and made it look like ice terrain. And I did that with a forest. I did that with desert, and I started to do that with the lava terrain, but I kind of didn't have enough time to finish it. But you'll see all those in some of these pictures. So I did all of those ice terrain pieces with just foam and hot glue.
Nice.
Wow.
And paints, so if you keep scrolling through, this was the
green one.
forest terrain.
Yeah,
And
that's
I'm
cool
telling
looking.
you, that tree I made from crumpled up paper towel rolls, skewers, and toilet paper.
Nice.
Recycling, yay.
No, yeah, a lot of reuse, a lot of cheap materials. But this is what I do for a lot of my year is I craft these different things. So this was a hedge maze that my players got to play, and this was one of my tables. And if you keep going, this was the desert table. They were on sand skiffs trying to rescue a shipwreck, and they had to dodge The these were just silly little plastic toys that we got in a box of $20 Sea Life toys that we
Mhm.
used a couple years ago. We reused terrain. I've got an entire sunroom full of mostly crafted supplies. But yeah, this is the desert or sand cliff terrain cloth that I made this year. And if you keep going, that's a 3D printed
Ooh.
castle that I need to paint this year. That's gonna be fun.
Mm.
Uh, keep going.
Reminds me of some of the castles we saw at the last castle competition,
Yeah.
Valheim castle competition.
So this was a canyon defense, and this is all terrain I made this year, to kind of look like the Grand Canyon. And those bridges, those rope bridges, are actually just sushi roller
Oh,
mats.
Oh, and you cut them.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
nice.
that's a good one.
So I do
That's
a lot
so
of
funny.
handcrafting. If you keep going. Yeah, this is the lava terrain. This is just cardboard and paper mache toilet paper, spray painted black. And then you can see the lava terrain in the back. I didn't get to finish like doing all of the colors that it's supposed to have.
Hmm.
But yeah, so this is all just stuff. Keep going. Keep going. Yeah, there's the forest again. If you keep going. Uh yeah, this one isn't very exciting, but it did become more exciting once you got into the tower because the tower was sort of like the TARDIS. It was much bigger on the inside.
Mm.
And so we had all kinds of really cool stuff in that one. Keep going. This was actually okay, so this was one of my tables. This was a game of memory,
Hmm.
but you played it with basically the god of death.
Oh,
Mm.
And he cheats.
Of course.
Of course. Are you sure it wasn't called Aris or Vhaste
No.
even?
But it was a lot of fun, and my players really, really liked the mechanics that I introduced here, and I was mean. I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna go into it because I but I really, like, explored how death can alter memories and, your memories of someone else, your experience, whatever. I got mean, and people were just like, "Oh, the emotional intensity, why? This is a game." So yeah, it was a lot of fun. We actually turned death saving throws for those of you who understand D&D. Great. If you don't, I'm sorry, you're out of luck. We turned death saving throws into a mini game. So rather than just sitting there like, "Oh, I'm unconscious. I'm going to roll a d20 and hope I pop back up or someone heals me." No, no, no. No, it was a choose your own adventure game where you're sitting there reading experiences out loud and then rolling a d20 to see, do you get back up? And
Mm.
so it was really a lot of fun and people were absolutely enthralled. So this was 10 tables, 5 GMs. We had a phase 1, an intermission, a phase 2, and then everyone came together for a final epic battle. And rather than having 30 people say, "I roll a d20 and attack," no, 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 no. We had different stations, and you told your GM, "Hey, this is what I do. Did it succeed or not?" And then the GMs came together for about 5 minutes, said, "Here's what we learned. Here's what the players did. Let's do a narrative description of what happens with the enemies as a result." And so the final battle with 30 people only took like an hour and a half. So which no, very few battles with like 4 people at the table last that shortly.
Mhm.
It was very fun. There was a lot there. So yeah. Oh, don't show the selfie.
So
I
what's
did
this
dye my
one?
hair. Oh, well, this is a different thing. This is for future. But if
Oh,
you go to one of the other pictures, the last picture I sent you, uh
oh, this one?
yes. Yes. We took my son to the Tilden steam trains
Oh, yeah.
in
Mm.
in the Berkeley Hills in California. And these are actually fully functional miniature steam trains. that this whole setup was really, really cool because they take you on a 10-minute ride around the redwood forest, and it's like mostly shaded. Um and it's beautiful and it's calming and it's only $4
Wow.
to
Wow.
just
How long
sit
is
on
the
the
trip?
train. About 10 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I went there a long time, probably more than 20 years ago. I don't remember it.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. It was very simple. But they've got a whole other section that we didn't even go to yet. So I want to take my son there again this weekend.
Nice. Yeah,
So
we'll
yeah.
have to plan a trip up there. It's funny that you mentioned that you went here because I got some friends who tell me that they're going up to there,
Oh,
and
nice.
I don't know why all of a sudden it's becoming a thing this year.
Well, and it's very accessible, which
It
was
is.
really exciting for me because they had a whole section that they just
Wow.
opened up a gate, let me cross, let me load up. I got to just leave my wheelchair on the loading area, like just, And so it was a very very nice thing to be able to share with my family because there's so many things that my husband has to take my son out and they adventure together and I just have to stay at home. So
Yeah.
this was a really nice one to be able to join.
Awesome.
Mhm.
So yeah. We'll wait for those pictures later.
Okay. Oh, we're not going to discuss these right now?
No.
Okay. I guess you'll let me know.
Yeah.
All right. Vhaste,
Hello.
you got to boot up that hard drive. We need DigiVaste. What have you been up to this last month? Anything fun?
Yeah, mostly I didn't do nothing out of the ordinary, like these two that get out and touch grass.
Get out of the house.
Well, it's winter for you, right?
Yeah, and it's really cold, which is weird for May.
Yeah.
It's
Mm.
a lot colder than it should be, but well, it's okay. Um, the thing with May is that we have here in Argentina the 25 is like an important holiday day, and this year fall in Tuesday, so we had both Tuesday and Friday as holiday. A pretty good weekend, which I used to see some friends and stuff, and I went to see Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
third
the
one.
new
The
one.
third one?
This,
Yeah.
I saw it too. What'd you think of it?
oh, I love it. It's great. I really like the Guardians movies are great. The third one is just everything falls together. I have to watch. I watch immediately both of the previous ones
Yeah.
because everything comes together. It's so good.
Well, for me, this one had a couple of things that I liked a little bit better than the first two, and it was that fun little backstory. I say fun; it's actually tragic backstory
Patrick.
Yeah,
with
so emotionally charged. I did not expect
yeah,
that
that was really
from
emotional. What's the
the
character's
movie.
name?
Yeah.
The
Rocket.
Rocket,
Rocket.
yeah. Rocket's backstory when
Mhm.
he was young and, made intelligent and experimented with, and his friends in that. Oh, it was so emotional by the end of that little
Yeah.
story. I kind of
Yeah.
wish that I was just watching that whole movie of back then with him. Like, I just want to see the Rocket movie because it was so emotional. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, and it is not only is a great story, is the entire character description up to now is that story is it explains why the character was always like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's, well, at least I didn't found any like thing that you say, wait, now with the backstory there's like changing all this that happened, and it's like it doesn't make sense, and it does.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because most in some movies when they do this, they do it backward. They show you the character, then they tell you the backstory. A lot of times you found something that doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
But I couldn't find
Yeah.
nothing that relevant that didn't make sense.
Well, yeah, it was the first big movie to kick off the summer here. I guess winter down there for you. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see if any other movies can do as well as it did. And I noticed that you have here in our notes that you've been playing another game, cheating on Valheim.
Oh my God, how could you?
I was doing that all the time.
Which game?
I'm for starters, Valheim is not my principal game. It never was.
Mm.
I'm playing mostly my principal games are gacha games, so let's get out of the way. And I went back with May the 4th, I went back to the Star Wars MMO.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is
Star Wars,
the
The
Old
Old Republic, right?
Yeah. It's just great.
Yeah, I played that
like it.
game for years when it first came out.
Yeah.
I play when it became free to play.
Mhm.
Play it a lot, but I never complete all the stories, so I went back to do that.
That was actually one of my favorite parts of that game. I don't think it's the best multiplayer game, but
No,
it is an amazing single player game when you just go and do all the quests for each class. Oh, they're so good. So good.
They are great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might need to go back to that.
Yeah, I haven't done it for all the classes either. If I ever went back to play that game, that's all I'd do. I would jump on and try to do the class quests. And
there are a few that are better than others, but
yeah,
they are really great, and you get invested a lot because the game is made by BioWare.
mm-hmm.
They make the choice. They don't make the choice really matter, but they make you feel like they really changed the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. You want your choices to matter because you get dialogue and it says, "What do you choose, this or that?" And yeah, you want it to matter, not just be like it doesn't matter. Either choice is going to be the same.
Yeah, if you watch it from outside, it doesn't change that much. But when you are playing the story, they make you feel like you change everything, which is what they actually should do, and BioWare does that great. So just for the stories, it's a great game.
Yeah, I wish they would focus more on that and then find ways to make multiplayer be included in those stories, and then dump all that other MMO stuff, all the generic questing and all the kind of like half-baked PvP because they're trying to appeal to a bunch of people.
Oh no,
just go with it. Well, yeah, it's been a while since I played it.
Yeah, I because I know what you're talking. I play at that like the moment before they change the PvP. The PvP is fun.
Oh, cool.
My pin is trash, so I have that problem. But the PvP is fun.
Nice. Well, so besides
I disagree, but yeah.
Well, besides
if you like PvP,
oh yeah. Well, you have to like it, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Well, so do you ever get out of your office chair?
Yeah, I sometimes go to my physical office, not my home office.
Oh, so from one chair to another.
Yeah.
No, but what have you in your notes? It says you were doing something else. What else were you doing besides?
No, I'm going to.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to start this Saturday an archery classes.
Oh, Gwen inspired, huh?
No. It was before the archery stuff. A few years ago, before all the COVID stuff, I tried to do it once, but I didn't end up. And now I saw that here there's a place where, how is it called? I don't know the translation, but here in Argentina, there's a lot more regulation with guns and archery and all that stuff. It's a lot more regulated. There is a place here in my city that is meant to train and give you the permission and all that stuff. They are doing a few archery classes. Yeah, and I decided to go in this one.
Cool. We'll have to get you and Gwen together and do some archery to see who's the best archer.
I think I'm back. Oh, my internet dropped for like half a second. Sorry.
Yeah, it did go away there for a second, but
Yeah.
we see you now. Well,
Yay.
cool. Good luck
Yeah.
with your archery classes, Vhaste.
That sounds fun, Vhaste. You'll have to send us or show us pictures next time.
If I will show next time
Cool.
if I have
Yeah.
some.
Awesome. Well,
Jiroc.
yes. Well, so this last
You've
month has
the
been
busiest.
very busy for me the last couple of months, but this last month especially. The first thing I wanted to share with you guys here is the passing of my old girl, my old canine companion. I had her for 14 of her 15 years, and that's us out on the river. She would go with me everywhere. She's a part cattle dog, maybe part boxer, maybe part pit bull, a really good mutt. It's probably why her genes were healthy and she lived for 15 years. And yeah, we went everywhere and we did everything together. It was so much fun. Anybody who doesn't own a dog, if you have a situation where you can own a dog where you live, I highly recommend it. It's one of the greatest things. Coming home every day, no matter what mood you're in. Like, I'm super excited to have a pup waiting at the door for me. I still have my little guy, my little 10-pound terrier. But yeah, and I just found this picture when she was high. She used to jump in and hide and play and roll around. And if you were sitting in the chair, she'd try to sit on you too. So
They call that a super mutt.
yeah. But yeah, she 15 years, which is pretty good for a 60-pound dog. And yeah. Fully not only did she have a good life, but we had an amazing life because of her. And we were dealing with a lot of health issues towards the end with her, which is it took up a bunch of time. And then but that was a wonderful part of my life that I'll never forget and will always value.
Isn't the quote, "Until one has loved an animal, a part of one's soul remains unawakened"?
That sounds accurate to me, because there is a way I feel every time I come in to greet my dogs, or like even like as soon as I'm done here, my little guy will be waiting right outside my door for me because he's outside the room right now, and taking him on a walk, just everything. They're always eager. They don't hold grudges, and yeah, it's amazing.
Mostly.
Well, yeah. Mostly.
Depends on the personality, I guess. But yeah, what's so incredible with pets is they each are so unique, and even like people might think dogs are dogs and cats are cats and whatnot, but they all have such a unique personality that you get to know, and the bond that you form with a pet is, it's nothing like anything you can experience with humans. Or
it's totally different. It is a different, and in certain aspects of a relationship with another creature, it's stronger and unique. Obviously there's things that they can't do that you can do with humans, but yeah, it is amazing. I hope I have a dog of some kind my entire life, because they're just amazing.
Yeah, I still grieve for my dog that I lost 3 years ago in May. Like it. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing times.
These are tears for you, but it makes me think of my dog.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, I cried when you told me. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, like sorry.
Yeah. But that's part of the cycle of life. And I was just glad that, because so many pets get put down every day. And then when I hear somebody, I just bought a pet from a breeder, and I think, oh, that means that some other pet got put down then, because you're not, you're going to a breeder and buying a pet instead of adopting one that needs a home. So if you're out there and you're listening, consider adoption. It's amazing.
Yes, so many dogs that really don't, or dogs or cats or any animals that don't deserve to be in pounds or in like rescue centers, that all they need is a good home. And definitely encourage you to consider that.
Yeah, we gotta shut down the breeders. Those animals are not healthy to begin with because of all the inbreeding to keep that
It
purebred.
depends. I mean, there are healthy breeding practices, and there are reasons to have bred dogs for a number
There
of
are
different things.
specific reasons, yeah.
There are
But with a
purposes that
little
are
search,
useful.
with a little search from the both the private and the public, government run kennels. Like we have a really big private adoption center called ARF, Animal Rescue
Yep.
Foundation, that was built by a famous baseball player. I forget who it was now, but. If you have special needs for an animal, like I know some people are allergic, but they still want, and there are certain breeds that you might not be allergic to. And there's other reasons, that you might need a certain kind of pet. With a little work, you can usually find it at some of the adoption centers and pounds around, but it may take a little more work than going straight to a breeder, but so
it's worth it.
Yeah, it totally is.
Yeah.
And let's talk about this new cowboy hat that you think you've seen before.
Is it?
So one of my favorite things about this hat is this. Watch this. I don't know, it just sits out of my head just right when I lift my brows. It does this because it's like a perfectly flat brim all the way around. And you won't be able to tell in the camera here because as I move it closer, it'll probably blur out. But these little silver beads all the way around are like little Indian head coins all the way around.
Okay.
Really cool looking. But I found this at the Alameda Antiques Fair, which is every first Sunday of every month. And
Nice.
I was like, there's no way that their $400 hat is sitting right there for a few bucks.
Oh wow.
I'm like, give me that. Here's some money. give me. I know, because I was
Nice
hat shopping
find.
for a long time. It's a all felt, really nice shape. I actually
Nice.
might reshape it just a little bit of a bend down in the front. But yeah, the one you've seen before is the nice black one that I bought in Nashville.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
more
yeah.
traditional cowboy style that kind of curls up on the sides like that. I can do it with this hat here like that. But as soon as I let it go, it goes like perfectly flat because it's that good, the brim.
That's what felt does. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was
Too
an
funny.
amazing find. I was so happy to get. And the last month I've been doing a lot of projects. So Valheim has been so amazing for all of us in different reasons. Look at the amazing people here just on the podcast that we get to hang out with, and all the amazing people on my servers and in my Discord community. But it's been such an amazing game for me too, because it took me away from traditional filmmaking into the world of content creation, where I could kind of do my own thing and have fun with it, and I feel really fulfilled that I'm doing something really fun that I enjoy. Sure, I'm not making as much money at it, a little bit on the side from ad revenue and whatnot, but it's just so much fun. And so I've neglected a lot of projects in my life over the last 2 years that I've been meaning to do. Like I'm a very hands-on person. I love like going around and fixing stuff in my house, installing most of the things in my house or even in my yards myself, and hiring, only the specialty contractors that I need to, but try to figure out, especially with YouTube, I find all kinds of like how to do this, and I'll jump in and try to do it if it looks like it won't be, if I don't have a chance to break and cause too much damage. So I finished the landscaping in the front and the backyard. Maybe next podcast I'll go out and take some pictures to show you all the work that I've done. And I'd love here's a little announcement. Gwen might be coming to the San Francisco Bay Area in August.
Yes.
And if she does, I'd love to maybe host a barbecue or show her around, maybe she get to see all this work I've done here, but then, maybe see some sites in the Bay Area. Well, I don't know. And maybe we can I was even
Let's
thinking it would be
do
great
it.
to do a little festival get together thingy
Yeah.
somewhere if there's other people in the
Yes.
Bay Area who might want to get together with us. So in the
Ha.
comments, let us know if you'd be interested in getting together with these two lovely shield maidens and myself, and maybe we can talk Vhaste into coming up for the weekend. I don't know.
Get out of
No.
the winter in Argentina.
Yeah, come to the heat.
To the burning summer of California.
Yeah. But yeah, so let us know if that's something you're interested in. As a matter of fact, so it's just the beginning of June, and our summer officially starts in what, like on the 20th, I think it is. But I've already hosted, because I've gotten my backyard fully landscaped and everything I wanted to do. I've already started hosting barbecues, and I've already done 2 really big barbecue events back there. One was just this last weekend, and then a couple weekends ago. So, and I hope to do a lot more, especially if Gwen comes out. That would be awesome. And Morning Darkness is just a stone's throw away too, so if she's available. Yeah, and I do have another big project that I want to do, and that's I have my garage is unfinished, meaning so our house was built in the 1950s, and the garage is one of those garages that is unfinished. It means it doesn't have insulation, it doesn't have drywall, it's just the wood. And so I was thinking about well, first I got to purge the garage because stuff is built up over the years, which I'm already doing. And I want to finish out my garage because we do play poker in there, but now I really want to turn it into a real man cave, So
I don't know if you're interested, but my husband has done all of that kind of work before and might be available to help you.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, I could definitely use the help because it's just a lot. Plus, good techniques, right? Because it'll be the first time doing it myself.
And he has a truck.
Yeah, that's always great too. Yep. Be able to haul stuff around, especially all those big drywall boards that I need. Yeah. I have a truck. I have a big.
He's probably going to kill me for
Yeah.
volunteering.
Hey, so MD said that you're available to do some drywall installation.
No, I'm sure he would love to do some stuff like that.
Oh, that'd be fun. And so another thing I've done here, let me come in close on me so I can show you, is a little bit of show and tell here. So you see behind me over here, I've got movie posters, and there's actually another row up top above that. Well, I have this section over here that's empty. And so I finally am going to fill that. I've already got them mounted to boards. I just wanted to show you real quick some of the movie posters you'll see behind me, if it's a wide enough shot. So there's this one.
Oh, wow.
Some of my favorite, and I'm not putting up my all-time favorite movies. It's just the ones that I can find in 11 by 17 print format. Because that's exactly, and I can't find everything. So this is
Oh, wow.
They're really cool posters as well. Like that one is quite iconic.
Yeah, and so there are movies or TV shows that have posters, and if it's not something that's really interesting looking, or colorful, I don't want to put it up there. Especially if it's just like the big actor's face. Like I don't just want the big actor's face. I want something interesting looking about the photo. And then here's one of my all-time favorite goofy comedy action movies. If you haven't seen it, you're missing out. Big Trouble in Little China. Oh yeah, I didn't, for the people who are just listening.
I was just thinking that.
The one before this was Silence of the Lambs, and the one before that was The Matrix. And then this last one is probably one of my favorite movies of absolute all time, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
So, yep, I needed a few more. What's that, Vhaste?
It was Raiders of the Lost Ark. There is a meme with one of the Indiana Jones movies that if Indiana Jones wasn't there, everything would happen either way.
Oh,
Was it from the Big Bang Theory? Was it Raiders of the? Yeah, I think it was Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Well, yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of those rare exceptions where the final conclusion of the movie, the lead protagonist of the story, doesn't actually influence the outcome. He gets captured, and him and Miriam are tied to a pole, and all he does is tell her to close her eyes and not to look at it. And the conclusion of the movie happens by the power of God, thwarting the Nazis because they opened the Ark of the Covenant. So yeah, he's in screenwriting. He's one of those things that we say not to do is a passive protagonist. You don't want passive protagonists. You have an active protagonist where their decisions influence what's going on in the story for good or bad, right? But in this one, by the end, he's completely passive, and it works in this case because I think of how active he was all the way up until that final moment. So,
but hey, it's Harrison Ford, so anything goes, right?
Right.
Well, I would tell you, I don't remember watching that movie, but the episode they did in the Big Bang Theory with that scene, it was hilarious. It was they went so broke after learning that it is a great episode.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you haven't seen that movie, spoiler alert.
Oh yeah,
they win in the end, but not because of the protagonist.
Given that there were 3 sequels after that, including the main protagonist, you kind of know the outcome, right?
Well, and now, a 5th movie coming, right?
Yeah, there's a
5th coming,
there's
right?
Yeah, the 5th is coming. Yeah. All right. Well, so we're going to get back to talking about some Valheim stuff because we're already an hour in. But
there was a Viking podcast, right?
Yeah.
Well, I kind of forgot what we were here for.
It's a fun podcast, and we include Valheim. Yeah. So first off, we'll talk about Valheim Ancients, which is the world of Valheim that I've created with mods for the players to play without mods, and it's on my Season 4 server now. And it was launched about 2 months ago, a little less than 2 months ago. And, I'm getting some great feedback from the players, and I need that feedback so I can include it as I start putting together Season 5, right? Because it takes time to put these together. So I have to start considering how I want to put together Season 5 now, so it'll be ready here in the next 2 months or so. But so the players have told me that they love the Dwerger rogues. They're found all throughout the world, and they use them even to help fight the creatures in the area, right? Because they're neutral to the players. And MD, you've played in Season 4, right? Did you ever use the Dwerger rogues to help you when fighting the other mobs? Oh, I can't hear you.
When I first...
Oh, there you go. I hear you now.
Oh, yeah. When I first flew in and was trying to get to the main area, how do I sound, by the way? Because I'm having some weird sound issues.
It sounds good
you're
now.
fine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I sound fine? Okay, that's good. When I flew in, I was running to, the portal hub and all of that, and I was about to be attacked by some... I think by that point they'd already killed Elder, and so I was being stalked by Grey Dwarves and Grey Dwarf shamans and all this. And all of a sudden, this rogue shows up and starts sniping it, and I'm like, it's amazing.
Happened to me too.
Yeah. When it's
fend off I think it was night spawn ticks that
there you
were
go.
following me, and it was my first play session, so I was literally in rag tunics, and just ran around, saw a building, wanted to take shelter, and then there were 2 friendly rogues there who took care of the ticks before they got to me. So that was great.
Yeah, and that's in the meadows, right?
Yeah, in the meadows.
Yeah, so they appear in the meadows and the Black Forest and a few other places, and the players really like that because it's an interesting dynamic. It becomes a tool for you to use, a strategy to use to fight the other creatures. And if you start a little bit later than everybody else, the world is advanced, the bosses are killed. You have, like Gwen said, you have ticks at night, or maybe feelings at night, or some other creatures, and running to the rogues can help you fight them off, which is good. And as a matter, one of the really good feedbacks I got was that because some people progress really fast, some players progress more slowly. Somebody asked if there was a way to control progression so that it could happen in stages, sort of, so the community can come together more throughout each of these stages, instead of one person or a small group just going through all the bosses by themselves and creating that more difficult level. And there actually is, and I think I'm going to do it for season 5. Unless I get some really interesting feedback that pushes against it. If you're listening, let me know here or on our Discord channel. But I can remove all boss locations in the world on world launch when you first arrive. So there's no boss locations. Maybe there can be Ichthir, but all the rest of them can be removed. And this way, I could put dates on a calendar and say, on this date, this Forsaken will invade the world, and then go in and put those locations in of just that boss. And I think that would be fun for the players. That way they can more coordinate as a community how to advance throughout the level progression in the game. I think that might be a fun way to try it.
Yeah, I remember we discussed those options a couple of times whenever we were doing new seasons and trying to. Sorry, I got distracted by the little bouncing hat. Yeah, we discussed that a couple of times. I think that's a good idea because it makes, for all the reasons you mentioned, but also it makes the season last longer. Because a lot of people kind of do the normal playthrough, and once they've completed and got to the last boss, they're like, okay, well, I've done everything I wanted to do, moving on, going back to the other servers or to other games. So at least it stretches that kind of the season a bit more. And the other thing is, even on the previous season, season 3, we had kind of, as a community, agreed to kind of slow down the progression past, I think, past Modo or Bone Mass, I can't remember. And we hadn't done Yagluth until really late on in the season. And some players still found ways to get to the Mistlands and do a bunch of things without having the Yagluth drop. So I think it creates also a good challenge for people who want to still kind of push forward and find other ways of advancing the game, where without the boss drop, you can still have tactics and ways to get to the next kind of level of progression and
The
some of
only
the items.
the only one that you can overcome is Mother. That is the only one
You can't.
Yeah. The other ones, there are
Ye-
ways around from glitches or just getting into the maze without seeing anything and go blind.
Mhm.
But Mother is mandatory. There's no way around it.
Well, you need it to make the next crafting station, right?
Mhm.
Yes. And the new
And you need that
items
crafting
and
station. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you need that crafting station to be able to use the black metal stuff, right? To be able
Yep.
to craft the planes gear.
Yeah, so it's
But you don't need planes gear
Mother is required.
to
no,
to
but
do
for all
stuff,
the
right? You can
for all the
still.
Mistral gear too, they use linen too. There's a lot of things that use linen.
Yeah, linen, it becomes important.
Linen and ovens.
Yeah.
Linens, ovens, the flour.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and so some of the other things that I included is like we had a bunch of locations around the world, and players really enjoyed them. But there was only so many, and then they were duplicated around the world. So they were hoping to get more, and there's Gwen back with us. But yeah, they're hoping to get even more locations, which is the plan for season 5, is to have more varied locations, because now I have a library of locations from all the seasons, so I can start including more and more of them, and even swap out the loot. So there's actually a stone pickaxe in the default game that you can't make. So you might get lucky and find that in the meadows in season 5. In some of the new locations and ruins that'll be there. And then all the other various weapons and armor and tools in the game, they're going to start being included more and more in locations to make location exploring even more exciting, right? If you haven't had a chance to craft the item yet, maybe you'll get lucky and find a version of it somewhere in there.
Mhm.
But yeah, so, and there are also small tweaks to every biome so that it looks and feels a little bit more epic, and the players love that. So I might go back through and try to find even more ways to tweak the biomes. And when I say tweak the biome, I make some things bigger than normal, some things smaller than normal, and some things from other that you don't find in that biome, I'll pull it, from another biome and bring it in, like the new world tree roots, the Yggdrasil roots that you
Yggdrasil.
find.
Yeah.
Those are in the meadows and in various other biomes as well, no longer just in the Mistlands. And the players love that because it just adds, a more unique feel to it. And then, of course, I had a completely custom Deep North and Ashlands. And again, remember, this doesn't require mods for the players to play at all because I'm using mods to add already in-game assets to it. And we did have one problem with the Ashlands is I had both blobs and growths spawning down there together because they're part of the same faction, so they won't fight each other, so they can be allied and fight against you. But I had a little bit too many growths, and when they shoot you with their tar, it slows you down too. And people were just like, we can't, there's too many. They're shooting tar, slowing us down and killing us. It's so hard to get past them. But I think we got it dialed in. I tweaked the spawn and might even tweak it a little bit more for season 5. Unless I decided to go with something else down there. And then, they enjoyed the locations, but they enjoyed the locations so much, but they want more. Like instead of, multiplying whatever it was, something like 30 locations, 35 locations, duplicated all around the world, they want even more variation of locations. And I will be able to do that because I'll pull locations from the other seasons too. And hoping to have at least 100 locations that get duplicated around the world, so to make it even more interesting to explore, and with different loot in each of them, not just the same loot. But here's the absolute number one thing that everybody loved of all that other work that I did, which was way more work than this one thing, is they loved the fact that 95% of the mist was completely removed from the Mistlands. They said it's such a beautiful biome. It was so nice to play in this beautiful biome without all the mist. And I agree, it's a beautiful biome, and the mist really obscures that. So I don't know if it'll help, but I'm doing my part to try to help those who want less mist. Is I sent feedback to Jonathan, letting him know that people loved that version of my season 4 map, and even made a suggestion that I've heard other people make, is like, if you kill the queen, it would be nice if the queen dropped, say, 3 to 5 little artifacts, and each of these artifacts, when you trigger it, it would remove all the mist within a 50-meter radius, right? Because the mists are just objects. All you need is an object, just deletes the object. An artifact that, a drop from the queen that deletes the mist objects. And that should be easy to implement because we have it in a mod. I can just do that in a mod. I can say, delete this object in this radius and it's gone. And if they added something like that, I think it would make it really nice. I could see people constantly grinding the queen now, like a reason to go in there and constantly kill the queen and fight the queen because they're grinding for these little artifacts that she drops that clear the mist. And then you can clear a beautiful big area and build up, whatever you want there. I think that would be a great idea. Who knows if they'll do it or if they have other plans, but.
By the way, Jiroc, I am back.
Oh yeah, I don't see your video feed though on here.
I had to restart everything. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you did. So you probably have a new link.
Probably.
So Let's see if we can you guys can listen and watch as I try to do this. So I'm going to switch over to MD's feed.
I'm so sorry.
And then let's see, I got to put in her new link for video. Is that right? Copy link.
For some reason, you guys sounded like you had all turned into robots and were at like 0.75 speed.
Oh.
Ooh.
And
Nice.
it wasn't clearing up. Like I tried a bunch of different things and it just wasn't clearing up. It wasn't clearing up. And I'm like, okay, I have to restart. And that fixed it.
Yeah.
Oh, no worries.
Between that and my internet dropping, and I don't think it's my internet that's dropping. I think my laptop is just like, I don't want to do this Wi-Fi thing anymore. So we're not blessed by the technology gods today.
Well, it hasn't been too terrible.
I should be
Yeah.
the one with the worst connection and everything. That's
Yeah. Well, you've got the advantage of not having video feed on, so your
Yeah.
bandwidth is at least a little
I'm cheating. I'm cheating.
Exactly. But back to the conversation about the mist.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
have even heard people suggest that once you kill the queen, all the mist goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
another thing that people have been suggesting.
No. That will kill your computer for sure.
Well,
I can tell you, if you implement that, your computer will instantly die.
Really?
What, is removing the mist?
well,
Yeah, because of the way they generate the map, you will need to go the objects, removing and taking all the mistlands. It will be quite hard.
Well, yeah, there's a couple of technical problems with that. It would have to run a program in the background that basically finds each object and then deletes them throughout the entire world.
Yeah.
And part of that problem is in the areas that are not generated yet, that object doesn't actually exist yet. Right. But that's why I was thinking, and it's some kind of a drop, and and give you a few of them each time, and then you could just go around and clear what you want. And if you wanted to clear like a whole island, you could. But that also gives you something to do. Like, I'm big on content creation. I think that would be huge for content creation and player retention, because now they have a reason to play the game. They killed the queen and they're done. I'm done. I'm going to move on to the next game. No, now they can kill the queen over and over, get a whole bunch of these, clear an island, and then build whatever they want. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
So all this feedback I've been getting from players about season 4 will be considered for season 5. And I have a couple of neat ideas too that haven't yet been seen. So if you're interested, you just go to my website, JirocTheViking.com. And you can sign up to experience season 4 for yourself now. The world resets twice a month on the 1st and the 15th. So resources reset anywhere where players haven't built. So if you come in new, you don't have to feel like you're behind, except that you have to deal with, feelings at night and ticks at night, or actually it would be ticks and seekers at night, right? At this point, but maybe you can find a helpful rogue to like they did to help protect you.
Yeah.
And then, so I still have my 7 Days to Die server going. It still has people playing on it. And everybody's super excited for Alpha 21 to drop, which they keep saying is any day now. But they've said that for the last 2 months. Any day now. But people are still playing over there. So we'll update that server to Alpha 21 as soon as it drops and create a new map. And I started a new Minecraft server. However, it's not publicly available yet. I've been testing it with a friend, and I actually want to install a couple of mods on it, and you'll understand why, because I want a land claim mod so that you can build in a big area and have it be yours, and nobody can just come in and steal your blocks or whatever. And then maybe even a teleport mod so that the players can place something down in their base and teleport to like a central hub where they could do like a marketplace. I don't know if you know Minecraft, but Minecraft's worlds are not infinite, but basically they're so large. It'll take you a long time, like years to get to the edge of the world. They're so big. I mean, we can set the size that they are too, but they're huge. And so if a player goes out really far, it'd be really hard to get together with other players, especially I know like people who have limited time, they just want to jump on and play with somebody. Well, if you could teleport to a central hub and to teleport to somebody else's base, That would be fun. And then it gives you something to do in between Valheim updates, right?
Mhm. Actually, I recently started playing a new game that and not streaming it, that
Mm.
I think if you're looking for something that is Valheim-esque, it's a survival crafting game with a little bit of building. Um, but Above Snakes, I've been having a lot of fun with.
Above snakes, huh?
It's a story-driven game. It doesn't seem to have so much story that it's gonna take you a long time, but it's only like $25 on Steam.
Oh,
I mean, I say only $25. I
yeah.
debated quite a bit before I spent that.
Well,
But,
yeah.
yeah, no, I haven't played too much, but it's definitely kind of a cool looking game.
You have to
For
look at the daily player base for it to see if it has enough players to start a
it's
server.
it's not a server, it's not a multiplayer,
Oh, it's
it's
not a
it's just a
multiplayer game. It's a
no, it's
single
just
player.
a single player, yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I have a more combat focused alternative I also play
What's that?
this last few months. Outward.
Out
It's not,
War?
yeah, it's not Viking like, but it's like this surviving combat RPG, which is really hard.
Hmm.
It's really hard.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that one. But yeah, for the Minecraft server, if for any fans of Minecraft out there, if you've ever played on another server, if there's any mods or functionality of a mod that you'd love to see if I opened a server, let me know in the comments and I'll look into installing that mod as well. And the nice thing about Minecraft and like 7 Days to Die is the server only needs the mod. The player doesn't have to install it because those games are controlled by the server. So when
Mm,
you join a game, it'll just download what you need to play on that server. So,
nice.
yeah. And Gwen has been talking a lot about needing a new computer. Um,
I almost tried to transition to this earlier,
yeah.
but it was too early in the podcast.
Well, just real quickly, if you go to jiroctheviking.com/Zydax, you can get a new gaming computer or laptop. They have pre-built ones, and they have, you can customize it. You get a professional, talk to a real human, and I've actually done this. And I told them what I needed, and they actually chose out a couple of specific parts for my computer to make sure that my computer performed as good as possible. And they have one of the only companies that offer a lifetime parts and labor warranty if any of you have any problems. So consider them. Use my link to show your support, jiroctheviking.com/Zydax. And then new videos posted. So, I mean, obviously Gwen's been having some computer problems, so she hasn't been streaming a ton. But she did do a little bit of streaming. What was it, been about a month ago now, Gwen, since you've streamed?
Yeah, so I started on season 4. I did exactly 1 episode,
No.
which was really fun. A bunch of people started at the same, like had waited or started at the same time as me, which was really nice. And then about a week later or a couple of days later, I tried to stream episode 2 and my laptop kind of gave out. It was just so laggy. Tried to troubleshoot, fix it and stuff, but it just wasn't having it. And I haven't been able to get things fixed since. So unfortunately, season 4 had a good start, but is a bit on hold for me. And I know that some people have been, bless them, they have been waiting for me to carry
Yeah.
on with me, and I feel so bad. I keep saying, look, don't wait for me because I don't know when I'll be able to get back to it. But yeah, like Canaris, if you're listening to me, I know you're also busy and doing other things, but also don't feel like you need to wait. So yeah, so I definitely need to get that fixed. I think I'm just gonna try to just get a new PC because I need it anyway, and then carry on season 4 before I run out of time on season 4.
Yeah.
Because the season is going to be up for what, 4 or 5 months.
Well, yeah, the original estimation was 4 months, and it looks like in order for me to get season 5 ready, it will take at least that long to do it right. So that'll be about another 2 months or so. We had the option of maybe having it go 6 months, but I think the players are so good at Valheim now that even with the new content, they just burn through the whole thing within the first month or two, and
Yeah.
so maybe
Uh,
slowing progression down a little bit will create a little bit more community, and also allow people like Morning Darkness and Gwen who like to stream the opportunity to schedule those streams. And I could
Mhm.
coordinate with you on the dates that I actually implement the progression. The next boss location, so that it coincides with your streaming. So give you guys that
Would
opportunity.
love I would love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
So you
Make
got
a kind of a big community event out of it.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Yeah, we get a lot of people will turn out for those, which makes it interesting when 20 people are trying to run around together in the game.
it
that will
adds
be
to the
nice.
fun, I say.
It is
Okay,
fun.
I will be the black sheep here. I don't like that of removing the bosses and stuff. We play the progression so many times that it's so easy to speed through it.
Yeah, but that's the point, right? Is if you want to keep speeding through the content, you have to get creative to do that
Yeah,
without the boss drops.
yeah,
So
I
it's
mean,
exactly.
like
I
a new
already learned.
challenge.
I was on a
No,
server
it,
that slowed down the progression so that boss kills happened every 2 weeks. And by week 2, and I think we were just waiting to kill Elder, there was someone already in the Mistlands.
Yeah, of course.
yeah, you can do
Somebody's
it.
going to be there. But you know what? I can actually tweak mobs and remove certain items from certain biomes to even slow that down. So I'm going to have
Mm.
to
Oh
talk to
God.
Vhaste about all those things I can remove to slow that down.
Oh, you are you are actually now. I have to tune up Ares so I can go and mischief all of that.
Yeah. um, and so, Morning Darkness, you have
Yes.
been very active lately still because your computer is not on the fritz. So, what have you been up to?
I've done a lot of things, and it's funny because I was also gone for that weekend. But I last night I was working on a portal hub for one of my viewers, uh, and then I've been working on a kitchen build in the on one of the floating islands in season 4. Uh, um, Legion and I actually did a great the boat trip a couple of weeks, or I guess it was a month ago now. Jeez, or no, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, she and I did an epic boat trip and got all the metal to the island. And so yeah, we there's already a beautiful build on one of the levels. So on one of the smaller lower levels, I'm building a cute little kitchen cafe kind of thing. Um, and then from that, I actually took a highlight on how to do big open crystal windows. Uh,
Mm.
so that's fun. And then I've been continuing the date night series with my husband, where we are still working on that castle in the Mistlands.
Oh, nice.
I've also been playing Jedi Fallen Order to catch up on the story before I play Survivor, if my computer can handle it.
Oh, yeah. I still haven't finished mine either. I played part of the way through that game.
Yeah, so I've been on a playthrough through that on Wednesdays, and then I streamed the castle build competition, and then I've also been doing the biome build challenge. We're currently doing a swamp treehouse.
Nah. Why would you do a treehouse?
Yeah,
That's not your
why?
thing.
Hey, I haven't done a treehouse anywhere else yet. This is my first treehouse in the biome build
Ooh,
challenge. So,
nice.
Mm.
and then my kid is at summer day camp from 9 to noon, Monday through Thursday. So I finally have time to
Oh,
try to figure
nice.
out how to do some video editing. So
Mm.
tomorrow I'm going to work on Jiroc. Now's the time for those pictures. Making a
Oh,
YouTube short on how to make a rainbow. So
Oh.
in part because it's really cool and magical to have a rainbow in Valheim, but also just in time for Pride Month. Here's a double
Yes.
rainbow. I've made this on the season 4 server. And then here's the first rainbow I did. Jiroc, next picture. That's the first one I did.
Wow.
So it's huge, right? It's so big that you literally cannot reach the ends because it's out of the loading zone.
And how are you creating this rainbow?
Signs. 6 signs.
Mm.
Oh, wow. Only 6 signs?
Uh-huh.
And are you using
That's
a mod?
amazing.
Nope.
It's
100% vanilla.
vanilla
That's
Valheim. You can
impressive.
create. Oh, I need to make a video on this too. You got to tell me how this is done. Well, I guess I'll just watch your video once.
Yeah.
Once you get your video.
And I've got some really great tips on how to make sure you get the best colors at all times, and so yeah, I'm gonna be doing that,
So cool.
and I'm gonna be doing a short on how to stack ovens and how to make large crystal windows. So that's coming up
Nice.
in some of my first YouTube published content.
Oh, I can't wait to
Ooh,
see it.
finally. Yeah,
That's
exciting.
on the contingent that I can figure out what the heck I'm doing with editing.
I think season 5 might need a rainbow then somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Can
this
you
is
make a rainbow like this on one of the existing servers? Like one
uh-huh.
that starts from Naomi in the Viking playground?
This is
And then
as
we
big
can
as
have fun with like have like piles of gold and
Oh, yeah.
cauldrons at the bottom of that.
That is so something I wanna do. I wanna make one of these rainbows, and then at the end of it, have, like, a full-on maze with,
Yes.
a treasure room at the end. That's something I absolutely 100% wanna do, Gwen.
Mhm.
Let's work on it.
This actually
Yes.
gives me idea. If you can do this
Oh,
with,
yeah.
and make a rainbow of these colors, then there might be other symbols that we can use to have these
Oh, yeah.
giant markers or
Oh, yeah.
ominous things in the sky that
Mhm.
maybe even point players to interesting locations throughout the world. This
Oh
is
my
fun. I can't wait to
God.
see how
Someone
you do
needs to
this.
do a bat sign. Please, someone do a bat sign in the sky.
Oh no.
It depends on what emojis are available, but,
Yeah.
there's actually I've got a whole code of the Unix code, or yeah, the Unity code? Yeah, Unicode runes. So you can actually do whole runes, Viking runes, Elder Futhark runes,
Mhm.
Um, yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Amazing.
you saying back, Gwen, just reminded me of the other thing I'm considering for season 5 if I can make it work. So my mod, I can make animals tame. Anything in the game I can make tame. So I'm thinking about having tame creatures spawn throughout the world that you can't normally tame, and then this way you can go and you can gather them up with a harpoon or whatever other means and bring them to your base for defense or even just as a pet.
I love that. That's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
I would definitely. Oh no, you can't. Oh, we should have bats in the troll caves, and then you can really have a
Ooh.
bat cave.
Yeah, maybe I think I can make troll caves with bats in them. That might be fun too.
Nice.
They might try to fight the. Well, if they're tame, they'll be okay. Otherwise, they might try to fight the.
Oh, no,
No,
they'll
I will
still fight
try
the
the
troll.
troll.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
just make bat caves without
They're tame?
trolls.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
all that.
If they're tame.
Yeah.
Actually, I think they'll fight the trolls even if they're not tame because they're a different
Yeah.
faction.
Yeah, both. They're
They'll fight
different
no matter what.
alignment.
Oh, that's awesome, MD. I can't
but
wait
yeah.
to see your content. I think you instructing how to do some of this stuff would be great to see on YouTube.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I've been doing instructions on how to do it on my channel. I've actually seen a good dozen rainbows in other streamers' channels now. I'll go in and like tell people how to do it, or people will see me do it, and I've seen quite a few of these cropping up, which makes me really happy. And it's
Yeah.
been inspiring people. I know someone who's done a Cheshire Cat build,
Mhm.
and she actually, after showing her how to do the rainbows, she went in and made the signs to do the eyes and some other stuff. And so the eyes look really vivid and cool on her build. And it's been a lot of fun, just doing this one thing, and people are like, "Oh, I can do these other things." And that's what I love about Valheim. I love being able to inspire other people to do other cool and amazing things, and even if it feels like copying, it's not. You're just inspiring others. Let's go.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah. If somebody has
Not
a
bad.
fun idea, yeah, we implement those
Yes.
fun ideas for our own enjoyment or the enjoyment of the communities that we're playing with. Absolutely.
Yeah, so this the rainbow idea was actually inspired by Mr. Anthropbot, who is a Twitch streamer, and but he was still kind of figuring stuff out. And as I watched him, I'm like, oh, I can do this. So I dashed into my world, did some experimentation, figured out the absolute largest rainbow I could make,
Mm.
did all the colors, and I came back and I was like, hey, dude, I figured it out. Gave him the codes, and he's like, ah, here we are.
Oh, nice. Very fun. Well, let's
Yeah.
look forward to that. When do you think would be the soonest you might be able to get a video up on YouTube?
I'm gonna try to start figuring stuff out tomorrow. Um, Jiroc, would you be willing to maybe be available for like minor
Oh yeah,
instruction?
shoot me your questions. I can definitely try to answer them.
Because I'm gonna try to do a time lapse thing, and then I want to do some voiceover, and yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. There's a lot of editing tricks that people just don't even know about besides just
right,
learning how to manipulate the program that there's small things, but imperceivable things that can make it feel better to watch a video, like doing a L or what some people call a J cut in the edit. It's basically when you do an edit, if you have like a clip and you put them together, the two clips come together, the
hmm
video and the sound.
hmm
Well, if you have two tracks, see how my fingers are the line is separated. One is
hmm
slightly in front of the other,
yeah,
where the edits are. So you edit the audio to come in just a few frames before the video. That's why they call
okay,
it an L or a J cut. If the audio
okay,
comes in just like 2 or 3 frames before the video comes in, it actually feels better in our perception. You hear it first and then you see it. If you
interesting.
see it first and then hear it, it always feels weird, like an editing error. And that's just one simple trick of many that people don't know. And there's actually lots of videos that you see how to make your video, one simple trick to make your editing better. And that they'll show you that trick right there that I just said. Few frames
Cool.
of audio before the video.
So yeah, my kid is in camp for 3 hours on 4 days a week. So I'm gonna try to learn everything I need to know by tomorrow.
Well, it's a lifelong process. I'm
I know.
still learning. It's only been 25 years.
Mm,
No, what's great is that there's so many different people doing different things with techniques and the art of editing, and then the technologies are constantly updating and changing. So if you get into it, it's not too hard to learn, but it's hard to master.
Yeah.
And it's a lifelong thing because the technology is changing. So I think you'll love it though. Once you start making something and editing, and at the end you go, "Wow, look at that! I did that. I put all that together." It's so rewarding. It's a lot of work though. But it's rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've already sent you a couple of tips for shorts specifically because it's a very different format
Yep.
than the normal like long form format. And I've
And
experimented a bit with it and looked at lots of different tips and watched quite a lot of shorts and like Instagram reels and stuff. And it is such a different format, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I
yeah.
think it will work well for tutorials. It actually is a great idea.
Mhm.
And it's
Yeah.
interesting. It's a challenge in itself because you have to keep you're restricted by not only the format, which is like mobile format, it's long vertical. So you don't have that much space to play with for text and things like that. And you have to film everything and make sure that it kind of fits in that vertical format.
Yep.
But also you're restricted by the length.
Yep.
Which is again mega challenging for videos when you, especially for tutorials, you have to make it so like snappy and short.
I think I can do this one.
Yeah. No, but that's a great format to play around with because obviously it's still short, so you still put in a lot of work. But for your first videos, I think it will be great.
I hope.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And there is one trick to doing the 16:9 vertical format, and that's to create a 16:9 vertical mask and then put that in OBS. So when you're recording, you can just look at OBS instead of the game, because you're looking at the game, it's horizontal, but if you look at OBS, you're seeing the vertical, so you can keep everything in frame easier. Because you're looking over there, you already have the mask. In old school, what we would do out on production, if we had a different format for the screen, is we would actually like put tape on the screen, and make sure all the content was within the tape. But yeah, you can do a mask in OBS.
That's a great tip for someone who has multiple screens.
Yeah, especially if you have multiple screens. Yeah.
I don't have
Yeah.
multiple screens.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
get one of your cardboards, craft things, and you can cut a little panel in it and put that on your computer screen.
There
Yep.
we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, cardboard cropping. Well, so I haven't, as I said earlier, I've been really busy with a few things, but we did do our castle build competition, and MD mentioned that earlier. So if you're interested in this, you can go to my channel over on YouTube, and you go to the live stream section, and you'll see the castles that we tour. We only spend about 12 minutes at each, because otherwise we would be there for hours and hours and hours looking at all of them. But I highly recommend, if you come play on my servers, to come visit these castles, because inside and out they're beautiful. It's not just a facade. It's not just the outside with a unfinished inside. The insides are as finished and as beautiful to see, the architecture and the decoration too. So check that out if that is interesting to you. And I think it is now time for some Valheim news. And we've missed
2 hours in.
I know we've missed hour and 40 already. But yeah, we've missed a few, not too much news cycles, too many news cycles. It's been a little slow the last couple of months. But they have been working on a public test patch. That it's a public test branch patch, so it's in testing. It's not on the live version of the downloaded game. They're trying to fix some Xbox issues, but there's a lot of little technical things that they're working on, and these aren't really going to change your content experience. But if you're noticing any of the bugs, they are working on it. However, they have mentioned in their blog update that they will likely postpone this patch because they want to get Hilder's Quest patch out soon. There's
a big disclaimer with this one.
With the Hilder's Quest?
Really big one. No, with this patch, the one they are testing.
Oh.
They say multiple times there's a major need to do a backup of all your worlds, because there is a high chance of them being removed when this patch comes out.
Yeah,
because of the nature of the changes to fix the things that we're doing with the backups of the worlds and the saving of the worlds. There's a high chance of the worlds getting deleted. So it's really important to have a backup.
Yeah, they're in the patch. They're messing with your world anyways, right here, because they says they're making a permanent backup when loading a new world in case you want to revert back. So yeah, they're doing some things over there, and yeah, make backups if you install the public test branch for sure. And when this patch finally goes live, I would still make backups. As a matter of fact, when every patch comes out, I try to make backups.
When this patch is live, it's really important to have a backup because of the nature of the changes they are doing. The way the savings and the backup are managed are way different. So there is a high chance when this comes live, things will get lost.
Yeah. Yep. So backups are important, and you can find those in your worlds_local folder in your Valheim installation folder. So look for that if you ever need to make backups. Your characters are in there too, and I recommend backing up your characters as well. But they released a statement that's been an issue, and I'm a little saddened by this policy, and I'll explain why. So regarding mods, they basically in here, they say that They've noticed that there are some players out there that are putting mods behind a paywall, or part of the mod behind the paywall. Like some of it is available for free, and then more advanced parts are behind a paywall. And in the spirit of Valheim, they're not charging for their expansion packs, basically, right? When they release a new biome, it's still like called early access. They're finishing the game. When they add new content, they're not charging for it. It's all part of your initial purchase. And they are saying that, the spirit of modding is that you, in your free time, you make a mod, and then the players get to experience it for free, and then they can donate to you if they want. The problem is, if they want, almost nobody donates. I know this from experience and from talking to modders, almost nobody donates. But if they donate, and many people will donate for your time and efforts putting together a mod, if you do put it behind, say, like a Patreon or something, support them on Patreon, and then you get access to it, more people are likely to sign up for it to support you. But literally almost nobody, I'm not talking like a few percentage points different, like, like say 100% of the people who would normally support you on Patreon, maybe 3% of those people would, if you removed the quote unquote paywall. So now you ask, well, how much time should a modder put into a mod if they can't get any kind of compensation for it? And some of these modders are actually purchasing assets, hundreds or thousands of dollars of 3D models. Or in my case, I literally hired a modder to help me create a mod. It's a simple mod. It's my Jiroc hat mod. So you can wear a cowboy hat and sunglasses and look cool like me. I also have a pirate hat, and I was thinking about adding more. I did make it free because it was just a little small thing I wanted to create for my community. So I paid for it. It didn't cost a lot. But some of these modders are creating some really elaborate things, and they're hiring other people to help them with it, programmers or artists. And this stuff costs real money. So, people hold down full-time jobs and then are creating mods on the side, which some of them say take 20 to 40 hours a week on top of their job, not just to make the mod, but to provide technical support for it. And especially when a new update for Valheim is released, then they have to make it compatible with the new version, and then just provide, updates and feed new content to the mod throughout. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of time, and they're spending their own money to create the mod. So putting it behind a paywall seems like a thing that should be welcomed, because then if players are encouraged to make content because there's a little bit of compensation for it, more people want to download those mods, more people want to play it, invite their friends to come play. It's a win-win situation. I'm not really sure why Iron Gate is going down this path. And so many other games allow this. They allow players to create content and charge for their content, for their additional content, because they understand this. And, I guess it's just a difference of opinion, and, whatever they want to do, I obviously myself, I'll adhere to whatever, their preferences are. But yeah, I really think it's unfortunate that they're going that way. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Well, just for those like me who haven't read the statement, and for those listening, can we kind of summarize what Iron Gate, what their kind of reasoning behind is it?
Yeah,
So I think they say,
here, it says, we feel that charging money for a mod is against the creative and open spirit of modding itself, and therefore we urge all mod authors to make their mods freely available to all who want to play them. This should include the whole mod and not just part of the mod available for free while another part costs money. If you want to show your appreciation for a mod author, you can, of course, still support them with a voluntary donation, but we do not want payment to be a requirement to access a mod. And again, some modder spends thousands of dollars to create a mod, and then they cannot put it behind a paywall. Plus, what's even more important is time. Time is actually more important than money. What could I be spending my time on? 20, 30, 40 hours a week on top of a regular job to create a mod and provide technical support for it. and I can't put it behind a paywall. And there are some modders who provides like half their mod for free, or most of their mod for free, and some of it behind a paywall. It's like you just want a little bit extra. You could still experience some of it, but not all of it. It just doesn't. I think this is going to kill modding, especially if they send a coffee stain and lawyers after these people. I think it's just going to completely kill modding and kill interest in the game.
Yeah, there's an important thing to also say for all the people that doesn't know how the mods are going in Valheim. There are mods that are simple, that are just a quick patch to help you do a quick quality of life that maybe the modder took just a few hours and doesn't have to even maintain it because the patches doesn't affect it. But those are the most ones that are free, and most of the modders don't even build their support pages for those. But there are others that make a whole new game. There are some that are insane, like the one we are using in Shogun Quest, Warzone. I know Chrome Pack has a lot of mods that are basically a whole different game. It's insane the amount of time and assets they had to use, which, to put it simply, is real money, because time for a lot of them is real money. For all of us, is spend hundreds of hours doing something. It could mean a lot of things we could do to or whatever, and they are actually using real money to get the assets. Sometimes there are people that are creating assets from scraps, having help from artists that they have to pay to make those assets. So I think they mess it up with this statement, because there's a lot of things with mods. You have the basic ones that is understandable. It just change a little feature of the game, or it uses something that is already on the game, just making a quick spot for you to make it easier. There are others that are just whole new game. And this might scare some of those, the better modders, or the ones that are putting a lot of hours.
It already has. One of the modders has already put out a statement that having a family, a wife and a child, and working a full-time job, and then still putting in 20, 30, 40 hours a week, like I said, to maintain the mod, to provide tech support for it, that he's getting burnt out. And now this is like,
cherry on the cake.
Yeah, it's like I can't have a Patreon page to, and a huge portion of his mod is already available for free. It's just there's some extra things that he literally paid money for to put into his mod that he can't put behind a paywall. He says he's going to be stepping back from it, right? So that's unfortunate.
So the language that I'm seeing here isn't "you can't." I'm seeing it as "we strongly urge you." So does that, I feel like that's just sort of like, hey, we'd really appreciate it if you followed our similar policy of, keeping these things as encouraging people to um volunteer money rather than having it behind sort of a paywall thing. But does the language here really indicate that they're going to come after you with lawyers?
No, they're not making a threat, because making a threat to the community is bad PR.
Yeah, that would be even worse.
This is the best. Yeah. This is the kind of language they use to try to stop it, to discourage it, right? there's
Okay.
not even enough money in modding or any of this stuff for them
Right.
to come after to like claim damages. How you claim damages on a few tens of thousands of dollars? It's going to cost you more than that in lawyers' fees to chase down all these people. They're just putting out
Right.
because people are asking in their Discord about it. So this is public relations wording, as Gwen, I'm sure,
Got
can
it.
tell
Yeah.
you.
I
Yeah, and
mean,
there's a huge problem with this because modding is basically keeping the game active.
Yeah.
Because with the if it wasn't for modding, a lot of the community that is still active wouldn't be active at all. So it's like a
Yeah.
slap in the face for the modders that are working a
yeah.
lot into the game and making them a lot of money, and they can take a part from their all their work they are doing. Is and Valheim doesn't officially have a it doesn't have a tools for modding. It doesn't support moddings with their software. There are a lot of games that have tools
Mhm.
for that. Most of them are bigger companies, they are finished games, etc., etc. But if you have the tools, you can say, well, use the tools that are free I already given you, but they don't do that.
Right.
Mhm.
I-
I guess I mean, I think the lesson really here is that as a community as a whole, you know, if you're using mods, please support the modders.
That's what I
Please
do. Yep.
go to their Patreon page. If you really appreciate their content, this is coming back to something that I keep seeing on multiple levels with RPGs and all this other stuff is that um some people are really against having things behind a paywall, and some people are really like, no, the artist deserves money for their work. Period. End of story. And so it's this really interesting dynamic because there's both camps and both have extremely valid points. And I think the really big lesson that we as a community as a whole really need to learn from this is if you are partaking and enjoying, and even if you don't have like a huge amount of money, please acknowledge the artist, acknowledge their time, give what you can to show your appreciation. And I think that's really the big lesson as we as a community can learn from this message as a whole is that, like Jiroc, you said, Valheim Iron Gate is not charging for their updates. They are continuously working on this project, and there's not the same excitement that there was before, and operations are still going, and they're doing that because that's their policy, that's their mo. um and they're trying to I feel like they're trying to encourage that mentality with modding as well. And I absolutely agree that the modders are putting tons of time, paying money, putting all this out there. And so I think as a community, it's just really important to acknowledge that we need to give these people our
Mm.
gratitude by giving them money for their time.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wanted to show quickly here. So this is R2 Modman, which is, if you want to use mods, I suggest you download this from thunderstore.io. And the mods you can see here are the ones I have installed. And these little hearts here will take you to the donation website for the
Perfect.
modder. Some of them go to Patreon, some of them go to PayPal. A lot of them go to Buy Me a Coffee. So it's an easy way. You can click on that. You can donate one coffee to, usually it's like a couple of bucks for a coffee. You could donate however many you want. You could donate monthly coffees, which is kind of like Patreon, where you're doing a monthly donation. But if you're using mods, please show the modders support by going in there and using these little hearts here that they all put on there. And you can click on, the ones who have donation pages to support them. So we can keep the modding community strong, because Valheim honestly is a small community. And if we remove all incentive for people to create, the tools we need to run servers or to, and make quality of life improvements to the game, if we remove all incentives for them, and nobody's willing to support them, they might go away. So show the love if you can afford to support them.
Yeah, and if you can afford, just sharing the link to the mod to other discords of communities or players, that's a huge help, because the Nexus, at least Nexus, goes a lot with the downloads. So
Yeah.
sharing the link, if you can pay, if you are really enjoying the mod, share the link in some other Discord with some other friends.
Yep. Okay. Well, we've got a few more things to talk about before we go. We're almost at 2 hours, so we'll move on from
So
that. And so next off, we're going to talk about the other development blog that they released, which has some fun stuff in it. So let me just switch over to that here. So there you go. And right at the top here, development blog tests ahoy. But if you scrolled down and started reading the development blog before you notice this unique picture, which is the first time we're seeing, then you're missing out on a spoiler right there, or a teaser for Hilder's quest. So I wanted to come over here and show you that. So here's the wagon, the portion of the wagon that they've shown us. Pretty neat.
And there's a Lox in the background.
There's a Lox in the background and something here. Not quite sure what that. Maybe a fire. It seems like a bunch of smoke. But it's got some lanterns on it, and not quite sure what this thing is here.
It's a tent.
Yeah. Oh, is it parked next to the tent? Okay. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Well, so I expanded this image into the black areas and told Photoshop's new AI content generation to guess what that might be, and let's see what it came up with. So I said, blank. So with or without, so it's guessing that. Now what's interesting is it gives you 3 versions of it, and then you can regenerate, and it'll give you 3 brand new versions. So it said, well, maybe the rest of it looks like this, or it looks like this.
Okay.
Or maybe the rest of it looks like this, which is like a little house.
Like a house.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Well,
Isn't that cute?
We've seen the bottom of this too in one of the other images as well.
Yeah. In a a side angle.
Yeah.
So yeah, just kind of a fun. I was just curious to see what it would try to generate extra for that. But
that's really cool.
With this picture, there's something important with this picture that I think we didn't saw in the other ones.
What's that?
It is actually in the meadows.
Yeah, this one is in the meadows.
Located in the meadows. In the other ones, it wasn't completely sure if it was Black Forest or meadows, but this one is meadows, 100%. Yep,
it's definitely
good observation.
Meadows. And look at these new bushes that we can find in the meadows here. No, it's just AI generating some ground terrain. It's not quite sure what it's looking at there.
With the weird lighting.
Yeah. But if we go back in the development blog, they're talking about Xbox issues. They say here that there could be a potential rollback, so that patch that they're trying to fix all the bugs, they're going to probably not implement that. And instead, they're going to try to get the Hilder's update out as soon as possible. This particular update might get a slight name change upon its release, as Hilder's Quest was mainly intended as a working title, but it should be the same content. And if everything works out the way we hope it will, this should be the last blog post before the update is released for testing.
I'm going to be right. They're going to post it for Midsummer.
Yeah, most likely.
I really think we're going to get Hilder's Quest with the Maypoles. That's what I've been saying all along. I mentioned it. Smithy kind of laughed at me in my chat, but that's what I've been saying, and I hope it's still true.
New items for Midsummer, maybe, like last Christmas.
Well, it makes sense because they all go on vacation for like a whole month right around July, so they need to get it out before their holidays.
Yeah.
So a bit like last time when we had the Mistlands come out in November, and it was like December is another big holiday time for people in working in Sweden. They need to release it a couple of weeks before that holiday, so that if they need to do any emergency patches or fixes and stuff like that, they've got time to do that and then go and enjoy their vacation. So
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so they released this picture here too with this dev blog, and I wanted to show you a close up of it. It's one of these. This one? No, this one. So we have some new clothes here, or at least a new tunic, right?
mhm.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's not. Well, we know this isn't Hildur. Hildur is related to the Dwerger, right? Related to Haldor.
Yeah, that's a player.
So
Yeah.
it should be a Dwerger, and we haven't seen a picture of Hildur then yet. So
No.
they're keeping that under wraps. But
Oh, yeah.
look at this new table in the background. Is that just going to
Ooh.
be decorative, or are we going to get to make that? Look at that
Yeah.
nice metal frame there, decorative frame.
Yeah.
Something in the background here too.
Couch.
That looks like a log saddle.
Yeah.
That's
Oh
a
no, it's a couch.
It's
Yeah.
a couch.
It looks a
red
lot like the quilting kind of thing on the
Yeah.
log saddle. Looks like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That looks like a couch.
Well, let's
Nice.
see what generative AI thinks it's going to be.
Oh,
Ooh.
no.
Oh, let's see here. I gotta click that and then that. Boink.
Well,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm not
What's
sure.
that green cube on the floor?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
And-
added.
Gelatinous cube.
Yeah,
Wait,
I'm not sure what all this stuff it's adding here in the background, but
the way it finished the couch is so weird.
well, because it doesn't
It is
quite
a
know
little-
what it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But look, it added
Is it
some
a couch,
buildings
a
or
bench?
something here, or trees or something here in the background.
Trains.
Trains. It added
And
trains.
trains.
Yeah.
Valheim trains confirmed by AI. And then here's another option. I kind of like that. I like all the
Oh.
see all the the sparks from the
Mhm.
fire. Look at this. I love how it added that.
That's pretty.
Isn't
Mhm.
that cool? And the lighting, the way it made it very dramatic.
Yeah.
And then another version here from the first version. The tents look a
Oh.
little more normal in this one.
The bench looks like it's melting into the ground. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward. It's not quite
There's
sure
your-
what it is.
There's your podcast title, Jiroc.
What's that?
Trains confirmed by AI in Valheim.
It's like that one Twitter user who always his Twitter name is bring trains or bring bicycles to Valheim.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And then every time he comments on one of their posts and he says, "This is a pretty good update, but not as good as bicycles would be in Valheim."
Yep.
He or she,
Yeah.
who knows? But yeah, so that's fun. And then so if we go back over to the update, if you check out, they're doing lore for the Ashlands, and the writer Lee, who we've interviewed
Yeah.
before, did an interview on a podcast about Vikings, a
Yeah.
Viking podcast. So if you're interested, there's a link here in the in the
Ooh,
news.
what's that?
I think it's Nordic. Oh, geez. I'm
Nordic
following them on
mythology
Instagram now.
podcast?
This is it right
Yes.
here.
Oh,
It's
yes,
Nordic
yes,
mythology
yes.
podcast. Yeah.
I've heard of them through another YouTuber, Viking YouTuber that I follow and I'm a big fan of.
Mhm.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
should check out that podcast.
Yeah, I haven't listened to it yet myself either, but who knows? Maybe there's some hints at things to come. And then in here they mentioned, they say the last time we mentioned we're making some drops for the Ashlands enemies, right? Because they need to drop things
Yep.
that we can use as components.
Yeah.
And they have a feather, a tooth, and a heart. And I can
Mhm.
show you that.
Yep.
So here's the
Mm.
feather right here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing that maybe will come from the vulture that I just
Yep.
showed a second ago. A tooth from something.
That I think that's either gonna come from the evil Morgan or the bone maw serpent.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then somebody's heart, probably from
The
the fiery
shard.
skeletons,
The
the
shard,
charge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are cool. And so this is an interesting image here. And I said, AI, what else is in the background there? Can you show me? And it
Right.
says, well, of course, there's more fire and water and a nice, pretty sky in the background.
Mm,
So,
very fun.
yeah. And let's see. The other thing in this blog post was the vulture, which they actually say
Yep.
as hostile as the Ashlands biome might look. However, it's not only going to be filled with fearsome enemies. Some creatures will still be more afraid of you than you are of them. This little fellow, for example.
That's so funny.
I
So,
don't know.
So
It looks
funny.
creepy.
well,
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it has to be creepy because it's a creepy
Mhm.
lamp. But
yeah,
it's
some kind of
it's
vulture.
actually, if I'm not wrong, it kind of make with the vulture. The vulture are not that.
Mm.
They are. They eat root meat. They don't
Yeah, they're
actually attack.
scavengers. So yeah,
Yeah, scavenger.
they only eat things that are already dead.
They eat carrion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
carrion.
Yeah.
And
Or
of course,
really small animals like rats and that stuff, but never a Viking.
Yeah.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
No, they're yeah.
And AIs, I guess that's probably a pretty good guesstimation of what's around it. Just more sky and more stairs from the AI.
You know what'd be really cool? If you died, to have a swarm of these around your gravestone.
Oh yeah, it's circling.
That'd be a really cool feature. I
That
would
would be
like to see
fun.
that on my wish list. You hear me, Iron Gate?
Yeah, that's a fun idea.
Maybe it would be a mod for that, but now we don't know.
Mhm. And then they close out their blog post with a build of the month, which is here.
Yeah.
Looks like a little town, but like on the water and a little island out there. Let's go over. I have a picture here. So if we zoom in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as husband and I
Nice.
finish our build, I actually plan on submitting it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, built all like these little waterways through here. So you can kind of take your boat to any spot that you want and get off instead of one spot and then having to run to the rest of your buildings.
Who was this built by?
This was submitted by Fortress by Kara Kasnick.
Nice.
Yeah. And AI knew exactly what was in the out in the distance that we couldn't see. We don't have the superpower that AI has, but AI does. So look, it finished the build over here.
Another train in the center.
Wow.
An aerial view of a train. Look.
Where-
Right there. Right under your mouse.
Oh, under it?
Yeah,
Down
there's
here?
two brown things. There's a train.
Oh
Another
yeah,
one.
there's a little train coming
Yeah.
in here.
Gwen, you are going to get along swimmingly with my son.
Trains.
Trains. But yeah, interesting how it tries to calculate what else is there, even though it doesn't understand but yeah, so that was the blog post and some interesting stuff to look forward to. Yeah, I can't wait. I think it needs another burst of life and Ashlands, but I think it's still far away. Hopefully Hilder's Quest, especially if it's some kind of quest, will bring some players back and explore, because they do say there's several locations throughout the world to make you have to re-explore the world, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So excited for that. And so 2 months, so you guys get a little over 2 hours of fun with us this week, or this podcast. I think that's going to do it for this podcast. Thanks for joining me again, everyone.
Thank you
Hey,
for having
Thank you.
us.
I
Missed you.
Yes.
Yeah. Miss
Saying
doing
things at the
this.
same time. Here we go. Go ahead.
Yep.
That's it for now. Have fun out there.
Bye.